Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. Imported LNG is expected to initiate the greater use of gas in South Africa's currently coal-dominated electricity generation, media heard at a recent Sasol roundtable. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer attended and tells us more. Hi Martin.
Hi Sashnee.
So it was said at the roundtable that gas to power was seen as a potential key to unlock the development of infrastructure for LNG imports. Can you tell us a bit about this?
Yeah, this liquefied natural gas, we don't have it here. We don't have a lot of gas here. We get our gas from Mozambique, and obviously we still got to search for gas, and searches are going on around the country, Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, and hopefully shale will deliver at some stage. But in the meantime, we want a gas contribution, but we haven't got the gas. So what do? In the past, I remember when we wanted to build an aluminium industry, but we didn't have the bauxite, we didn't have the alumina, we imported the bauxite, and we imported the alumina, which comes from the bauxite. Now what they're thinking of doing is kickstarting this idea of getting electricity from gas, because they want to use that lower cost feedstock. They see it in the distance as being lower carbon and lower cost. And so there was a round table organized by Sasol, which already produces about 440 megawatts of power from its own gas, in Secunda, puts it into the grid as part of its contribution and declares it to be low in carbon. So, because we get so much of our electricity from coal. I think they said something like 83%, but in the past it's even said we get 90% of our electricity from coal. So you can see Sasol has also been a huge user of coal. 40 million tons a year to produce petrol, diesel, chemicals that we've been getting, for the last 65 years. They are a little bit quieter on coal because of the world's attitude to coal, and because of the CO2 that goes into the atmosphere, with their process that takes place at Secunda to produce these transport fuels which we drive on here. They're looking now at cooperating with government, which, when I say government, it's the Department of Energy. They're coming out with a tender for 1,300 megawatts, and interest is being expressed by Sasol to get involved in this, to be one of the bidders on a procurement deal for this gas-based energy, and that should be out in the first half of next year. In the meantime, they hosted this round table, a lot of journalists there, a lot of their top brass speaking, showing a lot of interest in this possible new era and outlining their huge involvement, in hydrocarbons already, as an explorer, as a producer, manufacturer, you could say, of liquid fuels, looking also at gas to liquids, and giving a long explanation of its involvement around the world, which is quite interesting, going from Australia to Canada, to a lesser extent in the Middle East, where they were bigger before, but still a good spread in Africa as well, and doing a lot of doing exploring where they can.
And can you tell us about Sasol's upstream strategy?
Yes. So they want to be upstream. They want to explore, they want to find these feedstocks. In the past, gas wasn't the flavor of the month. People were after oil. They wanted oil. If they found gas, they often capped it. Or we saw in Nigeria, which was absolutely too ghastly to believe, they used to burn the gas. You'd fly over there at night and you'd think it was day because there was so much gas being burned, which I think was really beyond. When you think of it now, it should not have been allowed in the world. And hopefully, Sasol also played a role there to try and make use of that gas to create various products out of it. So they've always been keen on gas, even though they came out of a coal background, and still wanting to be upstream, get to those feedstocks, have a low cost feedstock that you can draw on, oil or gas involvement, but mainly looking for gas. We saw that there were early venturers into Mozambique, where they got onshore gas flowing, and we use it. We use that gas in Joburg now. And they use it, at their various plants. Also, their Sasolburg plant to make chemicals, and the Secunda plant to make transport fuels. and now wanting to re-emphasize that point that they want to be in the upstream as well and prepared to go in against some of the biggest companies in the world, speaking about competing toe-to-toe with some of the brand names in the hydrocarbons business. And Sasol, of course, also substantial, so able to make sure that it doesn't get pushed around.
And what is Sasol's view on gas outpacing oil, coal and nuclear?
Yeah, this is the thing, is gas going to outpace these? Well, long way to go, because, we don't have that gas in South Africa yet. We have abundance of coal. It's still coming in cheaply. If you look at what Eskom reported, you could see that coal is still coming in to produce the bulk of its power, probably more than 83%, as they said, and only costing just about 50% of its costs. Whereas if you look at the renewable costs, only renewables only giving 3% but costing 16%. So these entries of the new feedstocks, and in the case of gas to power, it would be a feedstock or renewable, the infrastructure that you have to have for that, it's still got some way to go to be competitive with coal. Coal is still making sure that it remains king with a crown on. But in the meantime, they do want this mix. You can see even in Australia, they want the mix with the gas and the coal. A lot of countries looking to go a notch down on the carbon ladder so that they don't get accused of too much climate change contribution. And again, we see it here in South Africa, but it would be importing that gas initially just to kickstart things, having a power station at a port that's selected. It might be Richards Bay, it might be Saldanha Bay, or even Kucha, and then using the grid. We've got an electricity grid to distribute that power initially, then slowly building up gas nodes, and hopefully by that stage a lot of the exploration that's being done on the west coast and off Durban, where they are exploring for gas, hopefully they'll find something and then bring that in to the mix, which could lift the percentage of contribution of gas. But there's still a long way to go. So, will it overtake coal? Well, it's a moot point. And, the oil side of it, from Sasol's point of view, they very linked to the oil price as well. So, you find the Sasol share prices go up or down based on the oil price. The oil price is not good at the moment. So, and nuclear, as for nuclear, well, you can see that suddenly people are looking at that nuclear, and we were horrified really at the outlay, your initial outlay for nuclear, so huge, talking about R1 trillion, to get things going. But I just listened to Eskom CEO Brian Molefe, and he's saying, no, it can be a proposition because you can get payback in 20 years. So what they're saying is that the operational costs are low. The capex, the initial capex is very high, but the opex is low. And he's saying, well, you can pay it off in 20, 25 years, if you go in for a new nuclear plant. And of course, they always look at Koeberg, our existing nuclear plant, and the cost that it produces electricity at is quite low. That capital cost has been amortized and depreciated, so it's coming into the mix at a very low cost, so they look favorably on that. So I would say, wow, gas has got a long way to go.
Thanks for chatting with us, Martin.
It's a great pleasure, Sashnee.
That's it for today. Join us again next week for more news analysis on South Africa's mining industry.